What is going on, everybody? We are back at it again with another episode of Stats Over Politics. We got your host, Kevin Dent, tonight. Shaun is still not feeling well. Hopefully, he will be back with us next Monday. But until then, we're going to do our best to hold it down. I am joined with Kaz and Toddy. Kaz, how we doing, man?
Been better. I'm alive. God is good. I'm healthy. So, yeah.
There you go, man. Hey, man, I know how you're feeling. For the audio-only listeners, there are two sad faces, and then you have Toddy just cutting it up on the bottom of the screen. So, Toddy, why don't you express how you're feeling? Because we can see it for the visual listeners, but tell the audio-only listeners how you're feeling.
Well, there's a couple of things. So first off, I just want to let you guys know that Kevin and I played in fantasy this week, and there were a lot of things that were said throughout the week. You know, even just going up to the week, there's this week 1, week 2. We're like arguing on who's better, and then I lost last week, and then Kev's like, "Oh, you got a loss in your collar," and I'm like, Kevin, come on, let's calm down. You scored 80 points last week. Let's just chill out. You escaped with a victory. You can't score 80 points and beat me again. And I don't know what the final score was. Let's just say by 10:30 yesterday, I was at 100 points already. So we ended up getting to 158. And then Kevin, I don't know what his final numbers were.
But 117.
He got to 117. Okay, J-Mo saved him and gave him a little bit of – he tried to make something happen, but he had a long way to go. That's one of the things. I guess you could say the Eagles lost. That might have something to do with it. My team ended up getting back on track this week. Feels good. But I would like to go back to Saturday night. That Alabama-Georgia game, man. That was one for the ages. Your boy won some Skrilla on that game. And there were a couple of games before that throughout the day, and we turned it into something. It was just a beautiful Saturday. Yeah, Niners back on track. Won some money. Beat Kevin Fantasy. We had a great weekend. It was just something. It was a weekend to remember. You got Kaz over there. He's smirking. The 2-2. I also saw a stat. I saw a stat over the weekend. Nick Sirianni has lost 10 of his last 13 games. That's less than 25% winning percentage. So, Philly, I know that you guys got a lot going on. Both your receivers out. That might have something to do with it. But your quarterback can't keep turning the ball over. And you know what? Saquon only touched the ball 9 times. Got to touch the ball more. Got to get the ball more. Got to get your guys the ball more. But I feel like the highlight of the weekend was definitely the Alabama-Georgia game. That was a insane game. I would imagine that most of our audience, Kaz is kind of dabbling into college still, but most people.
I watched that game.
Yeah,
I watched that game.
I would imagine that most people watched that game. And yes, the kid is 17 years old. We get it, guys. He's 17. Can't stress that enough. And then I also saw a crazy thing. I don't know if it's true or not. Serena Williams. Did you see what Serena Williams tweeted? She was saying, "Damn, my 17-year-old cousin's out there going crazy." I was like, "Wait, that's your cousin?"
Bloodline's crazy. We'd all be like, "Okay, makes sense."
Yeah. So good weekend. Good weekend overall.
Toddy, sounds like you had a good weekend. But I'd just like to go back to a part of your monologue when you mentioned I lost last week. So I went 4 weeks without losing. So that goes to show who the better team is. Toddy, this is his second time going around, so he's juiced, he's pumped. He is one of the lucky ones who have not been hit by the injury bug. So hopefully next time around, it looks a little bit different. We'll go from there. But, Eagles lost. We will get into that later on. Let's get into a couple of comments. We have Uncle May. Like always, what's up, fellas? Have a great show. Let's go. Cowboys. Gary, Steelers.
Gary.
Don't be happy over the Pats, Vaughn, he says. So let's dive right into it. We are following up the Monday night football game versus the Detroit Lions, defeating the Seattle Seahawks 42-29. Kaz, what were your thoughts?
First thing that stood out to me was really Geno Smith's performance was awesome. Obviously Jared Goff was perfect for the whole game, like legitimately perfect, but Geno's, if you were to ask me, I think he outplayed Goff. Goff had I think it was no incompletions, completed every pass, like I said, but at the same time, Jameson Williams, big 80-yard touchdown run or catch and run, a couple of the big plays downfield as well. Goff is also catching touchdown passes, and this is no discredit to Goff. He literally had a perfect game. So if someone wants to argue and say, well, what do you mean Geno Smith outplayed him? What I mean is Geno Smith was balling. Like, Geno Smith was dealing with a lot of pressure. He was extending plays. I mean, he looked phenomenal. He looked like a Geno Smith I've never seen before. I think this is probably his best. This is probably a career game for Geno Smith, I'm guessing. I'm not sure how many touchdowns he threw for. I only think maybe one. But regardless, I mean, he put up he had been close to 400 yards, I believe. So
395.
Yeah, just impressive game from Geno Smith. I really enjoyed just, again, seeing him extend the plays that he did, and he stood out to me. Kenneth Walker, he balled out. I mean, everybody balled out. Let's just call it what it is. On both sides of the offense both teams offensively balled out. Good game. It's about time. I've been waiting for a really good football game all season long. That was for sure, if you were to ask me, the game of the week. Probably outside of the Packers and Vikings game. I really enjoyed that game at the end, but this was a very, very good game by two very good NFC teams. If that's what the playoffs are going to look like, we're in for a treat. So awesome Monday night game, and I think that Geno Smith proved a lot of people wrong that game. He played his ass off.
Yeah, man. Geno Smith, I've been telling people all season long, I believe in the Seahawks. I believe that every time I say the Seahawks, it has to follow the NFC West champions. I feel like it just goes together. This team has shown week in and week out, no matter who's on the other side of the football, that they're going to show up to play. Geno Smith didn't write back again, I guess, because like Kaz mentioned, throwing for 395. I mean, yeah, you could say Goff went 18 for 18, but Geno's out there slinging it. We were talking about, are they going to take a quarterback 2 years ago? And now Geno Smith is the guy. So they have a lot going on. We see JSN making plays here and there. Seeing Kenneth Walker back in the lineup was huge for me personally.
You see that broken tackle that he had? He's like,
bro, when it was, I believe that tackle.
He did
It was a tackle. He just held him up.
Yeah.
And he said, "Okay, let me just throw you on my back and flip over you."
Yeah. He did the spin Rooney on him, bro. It was crazy.
That was crazy. But DK Metcalf is on one of those tours. He's on the tours of letting everybody know who the fuck he is. Everyone's forgotten about him. DK Metcalf is still one of those guys. Like Toddy mentioned, yeah, he was one of the first guys to get paid, so that's why his name hasn't been brought up and all these new guys are passing him up. But he's one of the guys that have been doing this for a long time. So to see him keep going and this defense, I keep talking about these corners. These corners in Seattle, man, are going to be the real deal. They get this rest of the team together. They had 5 injuries on defense, I believe. Going on the road, playing against a team that went to the NFC Championship is never easy. So they're an up-and-coming team. This was their first loss of the season, so it's not a bad loss to say you lost to the team that went to the NFC Championship. So there's a lot of good things in Seattle. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do moving forward. But Toddy, what were your thoughts on the Detroit Lions handling business against the Seattle Seahawks 42-29?
same old Seahawks. I mean, hey, you go and you play Patriots, beat them. No. Oh, I forget who else they beat. But this was the real test for them. Monday Night Football against Detroit.
Broncos and Browns, Toddy, with the other two teams.
Okay, yes. Rookie quarterback, first start, Deshaun Watson his ass. Okay, yes. Geno Smith played a pretty good game. A lot of yards, DK balled. I feel like this is what we're gonna see. I mean, they beat the teams they're supposed to beat. You play a team, yes, that Kevin mentioned, went to the NFC Championship game last year. Let's kind of see what you're made of here on Monday Night Football. This is kind of the stage we need to see. And I don't think that the Seattle defense could really get stops when they needed to, because whenever Seattle scored, the Lions went right back and scored again. Like, it was bing, bang, boom. Like, they just marched down the field pretty much whenever they want. Amon-Ra's doing whatever type of dances he's doing in the end zone. I'm pretty sure he's crip walking in the end zone. You got Jared Goff is catching touchdown passes in the back of the
special, man.
Jared Goff is catching touchdown passes. Like, you got David Montgomery. Jahmyr Gibbs, I know all the fantasy owners went insane today with all the Jahmyr Gibbs touches that he was getting. He was getting in the end zone. So, I mean, Seattle, it's all downhill from here. Couple of weeks, you got to come see us. And you know who us is. They got to come see about us. They're 3-1 now. Oh, okay. Let's see if we can hold on to the division. I'm just letting you know. Things here, you get back to life, back to reality. That's what's about to happen.
You might need to keep that
Cavs game too.
It's all about to start happening because things are in motion right now. I get it. You guys were 3-0. It was a good start, great start, but you about to start coming back to reality after these next couple of games. I don't know who they play next week, but I know in 2 weeks they'll come see us on Monday night or on Thursday night.
They play the Giants next week.
Okay, so are the Giants good? I don't know. Okay.
If Malik Neighbors doesn't play, then absolutely not. If Malik Neighbors plays,
I think he'll play because he had 10 days to recover from a concussion.
That's the franchise now.
So, we'll see. Where's that game at? It's probably in New York, I would imagine.
It's in Seattle.
It's in Seattle. Okay, so they got a better chance at winning that game. I would imagine they'd be favored. But yeah, I will be very. The Lions are one of those teams I think that a lot of people kind of have as they're one of the favorites in the NFC to kind of be one of the final four teams, I would imagine. But yeah, their talent was on full display. A lot of people kind of Jameson Williams, I knew in college he was going to be this. He just happened to tear his ACL in literally the championship game against Georgia. And then they kind of like fell off at the end because there was a bunch of injuries kind of going on. They were already missing John Mechie Jr. in that national championship game. And then J-Mo tears his ACL in that same game. Still goes, I think still was in the first round, rather high. And a lot of people kind of forgot about him. And he was kind of coming back from injury and working his way back last year. And then you kind of saw him explode in the playoffs. And he was scoring a bunch, especially in the NFC Championship game. He was going off. And now, as Kevin has him on his fantasy team, he's a top 5 in a fantasy receiver. Jameson Williams is definitely going to be one of them ones to come for sure. So you match him with Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got David Montgomery. Nobody can tackle him. You got Jahmyr Gibbs. That tandem, like this offense is insane.
Legit.
It's a
and Sam Laporta.
Thank you, Laporta too. Who was also kind of a little bit weary coming off of injury too, as well, in the playoffs last year. So, I mean, really, I feel like what's going to hinder them is their defense. We saw Geno kind of light it up this week. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was last week, we saw Hutchinson go off for like 4 sacks, but they lost. So the defense has to tighten its screws a little bit, I think, but I feel like when the offense is humming, no one can really stop them. And I mean, like I said, I hate to be, kind of like sound like a broken record, but in the NFC Championship game, they were up on the Niners big in the first half. And things kind of got weird at the end. Things happened and they ended up losing, but I mean, they have the potential to definitely go back to the NFC Championship game. And then the Lions minus 3.5 was free money. I just wanted to let that know.
Free money.
Free money.
So, moving on to, I think, the biggest shocker of the weekend. We saw the Arizona Cardinals come out and really make some noise early on in the season, and they unfortunately ran into the number 2 pick in Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. Toddy, I'm going to swing it to you first. The Washington Commanders are going to the playoffs. From your mouth to God's ears, they beat the Arizona Cardinals 42-14. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, so I saw another crazy stat that since like 1950, he's had the craziest 4-game stretch, like completion percentage wise, from anybody ever. And I think it was like Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Jaden Daniels, and like some other like guy from the 50s, and that was it. That's how crazy the stat was. That was according to Rich Eisen. But yeah, Jaden Daniels has been. I feel like what's everybody's kind of like, okay, you're supposed to be a Caleb guy, but you also did say Jaden Daniels or the Commanders were going to the playoffs. So who's better? Yes, I have eyes. Kaz called me out on it yesterday. Hey, man, Jaden or Caleb's supposed to be your guy. What's going on, man? I was like, Jaden's definitely the better quarterback right now. If anybody with eyes compares the two, Jaden is obviously playing better. Now, can the Commanders win this division? I think that's definitely a legit question. You look at what the Giants look like, you look at how beat up the Eagles are, and you look at just from a record standpoint, the Commanders have the best record in the division currently right now. The defense, I do have some concerns about their secondary, but I do like their front seven with Deron Payne and those guys. They cause havoc up front. Just the Cliff Kingsbury addition, I think, kind of gets swept under the rug with him being able to call plays and not really have to worry about managing a team. I feel like he's a legit play caller. I mean, he's had guys like Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. So he's kind of dealt with this type of quarterback that Jaden is. But I think it kind of gets people kind of misconstrue how good of an athlete Jaden Daniels is. I know he's really like kind of frail, but kid can run like a gazelle. Like if he gets into open space, he's like faster than your DBs, and he could just run right by you. Another concern that people have is him not really taking hits or not trying to get in an open space and slide. So because he has such a frail body frame that if he gets hit too many times, he could get injured. And I kind of seen them cut down a little bit because in the first week he ran the ball like almost 20 times. And then you kind of see that them start to pull it back a little bit. He's been winning from the pocket and been delivering the ball. And if you just look at how happy Terry McLaurin is that he has a quarterback and just see how big of a smile that he has on his face, he's dancing in the end zone. I get that he's, been very consistent, having 1,000-yard seasons no matter who the quarterback is, but they're winning and he's scoring. He's a big reason why they're winning these games. You just look at Terry, man, and he's just in the background. You just see him just grinning. So happy. Fellow Ohio State wide receiver. But I think it kind of comes in. I do not want to forget Brian Robinson is a monster as well. The way that he's been running the ball definitely helps the Commanders in play action and them being able to kind of, spread the ball around a little bit. Luke McCaffrey, Kev. Let's put some respect on Luke McCaffrey now. They got rid of a couple guys like Jahan Dotson, who was supposed to be their number 2 receiver, and they kind of we like what we see from McCaffrey. Not saying that he really made an impact, but he's been out there making some plays in the last couple of weeks. So, I mean, hey, man, the Commanders, I think they're definitely in play to make the playoffs and for sure in play to win this division. Now, I didn't say all of that preseason, but right now they are the best team in the division. And Cowboys, they got some injuries. They got some issues. Eagles definitely have some issues, injuries, and the Giants are the Giants. So, I mean, this could really come down to this. It could get scary. I don't remember the last time an NFC East team repeatedly won the division in back-to-back years. That's been a reoccurring thing that's been happening. It's been a revolving door over the years. So, can the Commanders win the division? It's definitely in play.
Hell no, they cannot. Absolutely not. Toddy, so what do you think they go over the 4 games with us and the Cowboys? Honestly speaking, what?
500.
Think so?
Who's playing?
Are they beating both of us? Are they sweeping somebody, or are they going to beat? Are they going to split?
I'm not saying they're going to sweep y'all. I feel like you guys could all beat each other. Is what I'm saying.
Don't think it's happening. When it gets closer, if you're still feeling as confident, we can handle some business. So, Cass, swing it to you next. Washington Commanders continue to shock the world, beating the Arizona Cardinals 42-14. What were your thoughts?
Well, I did pick them to win the game on the road. Didn't really see why. Man, I understand, like, when it comes to like betting, that the home team usually gets the favor, the 2.5 points or whatever it is. But I was like, you know what? I haven't really seen much out of Arizona outside of the couple plays to Marvin Harrison Jr. That's been the highlight of their entire season, and I've seen a lot out of the Washington Commanders.
Couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot out of the Washington Commanders, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, as of right now, they definitely look like the best team out of the NFC East. I can openly admit that. Granted, we are hurt, so I mean, there's a small asterisk there, but it's like I'm very critical on like my team, the Eagles. I don't think that we shouldn't have to have the perfect situation to win games. If we have guys that are in play that are supposed to be these studs, you got to make it happen. Granted, coaching is definitely questionable, but it's whatever. It's not really the whole focal point of this. But what I'm saying is, Jaden Daniels, he does a good job of taking care of the ball. They're having fun on that offense. They have weapons everywhere. If you were to, we just talked about the Lions, about who all they have on offense. I mean, the Washington Commanders, like I said at the beginning of the season, they're a team that they were just a quarterback away. And we saw sparks of it with Sam Howell. A couple games, Sam Howell had decent games. Like, it was there, but it just wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't there for the longevity, from a longevity standpoint. So they're a solid team. I think it's still too early to call them a great team, but they're definitely a solid team. I think at the end of the day, as long as they can show up maybe on like a Monday Night Football game or a big-time primetime game, maybe against Philadelphia or Dallas, and win, especially on the road, then we can probably call them a great team. So still early. They were impressive on Sunday. They played Sunday, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Sunday, yeah. They were I don't know. I just looked up at the score. I'm like, wow, they just can't. They just keep scoring. And Jaden Daniels is the main reason why they're this good. He pretty much revived Terry McLaurin's career, and I think Toddy said it. He's like, dude, McLaurin's he's smiling, having a good time. When you have a team like that, and especially as Eagles fans, you know what it's like. I'm talking 2022 vibes, where all the players are having fun. You got Jalen, having fun in the locker room and smiling and giving awesome speeches and stuff like that actually makes sense, to actually hold weight. You got just so much happiness around when you got something like that going on, and you got a solid coach that's taking care of business on his end. That's tough to stop, man. Like that's hard to defeat. So right now, the Commanders are definitely a team you can't take lightly. If you do, you're going to lose. But I don't want to call them great yet, but they are definitely a good football team. So they beat the Cardinals. Like I said, I called that, and I think that they're going to continue to be a lot of decent football teams. So I'm waiting for the big game. I want to see them play a truly amazing, formidable opponent on Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, something like that. Like a Detroit Lions or a San Fran. I'm like, okay, hold up now. We can talk about it. So Washington's they're a good team right now, and that's pretty much it.
We got a question for you, Kaz, in the comments.
Yeah.
Tyson Ross, my cousin, Washington Commanders fan, says, best quarterback in the NFC East. What do you have to say
Right now he is. I mean, Jalen Hurts is leading the league, or almost leading the league in turnovers this season. There's, again, I'm not an excuse guy, man. I'm calling it what it is. I mean, turning the ball over, no AJ Brown, no Devonta Smith, whatever. You still got other guys around you, and turnovers are something you can prevent. I mean, just because people aren't open doesn't mean you have to try to put the ball where it does need to be. You could throw the ball away. You could take a sack. So you can't really say that. I already said it. Jaden Daniels does a good job of taking care of the ball. He does a really good job at that. And for me, I'm a big fan of quarterbacks. I think what makes a good quarterback is decision making. You can put up 1,000 yards a game, but if you're a terrible decision maker, we'll talk about Jameis Winston, for instance. He'll give you yards, but he'll also lose you the game because he's going to throw 3 or 4 picks. So, I think the fact that Jaden Daniels has put up the numbers that he's putting up and taking care of the ball, he's just outshining Dak Prescott right now, just slightly. And he is outshining Jalen Hurts right now at the moment. Again, this is still early on in the season. We don't have our guys with us. We're throwing Jalen's throwing to Paris Campbell and the ghost of Jahan Dotson and Grant Calcaterra, and apparently John Ross for one. So you give Jaden Daniels this receiving core, you know it's probably going to happen. But that's football. Players get hurt. It is what it is. For right now, he's definitely playing the best football in the NFC East for sure.
You mentioned Jahan Dotson. He also says, ask Kev what Dotson did for the Eagles.
Don't forget about Johnny Wilson.
He did, and Johnny Wilson too. Yeah, he did nothing. But it's not just it's not a Jahan Dotson thing, man. It's not a Jahan Dotson problem. It's everybody. If you we're gonna touch base on that game here in a little bit, but I'll just say right now, just to make this brief, that game from the coaches to the water boy was just a shit show. We showed up in Tampa and wasn't ready to play football. It's just that simple. So offensively, defensively, individual performances, there was not one good performance outside of one player, and that was Saquon Barkley, and only had 9 carries. So that's it, man. That's it.
Yeah. So before we move on from the Commanders, everyone's hoo-hawing, swinging their arms in the air. Let's go over who they beat. The Giants. Anybody here think the Giants are going to the playoffs? Winning their division? Sneaky wild card team? No? Okay. 0-3 Bengals. Does anybody feel confident in the Bengals right now? Anybody? Going once? Going twice? Arizona Cardinals. Marvin Harrison bounced back. Shocked the world. Is anybody confident in them doing anything this year? So we're screaming praises. Best in the NFC East. Playoffs. What has he done? Beat 2 teams that don't go to the playoffs and the Bengals who start off slow, who were 0-3 at that moment. What have they really done? That, like Kaz said, I want to see them go up against somebody good. We're not getting that next week.
Y'all good?
Cleveland, hold on. Cleveland Browns next week. After that, October 13th, they travel to Baltimore.
That's going to be a good game.
Now,
that's the one right there.
Jaden Daniels go in there, light it up. The 14th, I'm singing my praises. I will eat my words. But we've seen a lot of guys tear up the Giants and the Cardinals, have we not? We've been watching football for a long time.
I mean, they put up damn near 40 points in back-to-back weeks.
So did the Saints at one point.
Call me crazy.
So did the Saints at one point.
Okay.
I love to see Terry McLaurin coming back to life. They got a lot of good things going. Brian Robinson Jr., they have a lot of good things going there. Arizona just came out of stunk it up. I was expecting a bigger game from Marvin Harrison with McBride out. But
they are number 1 in the division right now.
Just didn't work out. I mean, yeah, they would have been number 1 even if we would have won all our games too. We haven't played a conference opponent.
All right.
So, moving on. So for time purposes, I think we're just going to take the first bullet to the head, and I'm going to go to Toddy first. The Philadelphia Eagles travel to Tampa for another ass-kicking, 33-16. Toddy, what were your thoughts?
Big Baker showed everybody what he is. Mike Evans came back. He kind of disappeared the last couple of weeks. Bucky Irving, a lot of people don't really know who that guy is, but I do. He's on my fantasy team because we know ball on the side. Running back from Oregon. Slowly working his way to be, I think, the number 1 running back eventually. I think him and Rashad White are splitting time currently right now. I think that at one point I saw a stat where it was like total yards was like 200 and something to 0. I did see like a screenshot of that. That was pretty bad. Now, Jalen Hurts didn't really have anybody to really throw the ball to, but it kind of got ugly early. Like it was like bad to where y'all couldn't move the ball at all. At that point, I felt like Sirianni should have just been force feeding Saquon Barkley. He only had like 9 touches in the game total. That's yards. That's receiving yards and rush yards. So I felt like if you guys didn't have any other offensive options, it should have been Saquon Barkley. Line them up in the slot. Do whatever you got to do to get him the ball, because obviously your 2 top guys who are getting paid a lot of money, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they are currently out. So could have tried to get Dallas Goedert a little bit more involved as well, but he wasn't really working with much. But this is the NFL. You're a professional. You get paid a bunch of money to go out there and do your job. I don't think Jalen Hurts did a particularly well job, but he was dealt a bad hand, and the Bucs murdered him. You could say that the Bucs are the Eagles' boogeyman. Going back to the last couple of matchups, hasn't really went well for them every time that they go to Tampa. But for some reason, A.J. Brown never plays in Tampa. I've noticed that. Yeah, Eagles got smacked. Happens. Are they a good team? I don't know. Hopefully they're a good team. But the Bucs are going to be one of those teams that I think can definitely contend for their division and be able to host another playoff game this year in the NFC.
So, due to viewership, Kaz, I was told to go next because when they say when we lose, you come on here and it's Bloody Mary. It's Bloody Mary. It's everyone's headshots. It's we need to get rid of this, we need to get rid of that. So I'm gonna ease it up for us, Philadelphia fam. Look, everyone wants to come on here and say, Kevin, Nick doesn't have us ready. This is bullshit. Did this, Nick that. Nick, what are you doing?
Nick's not a good coach to me.
Let me tell you what Nick did. Well, let me tell you what Nick didn't do on Sunday. He didn't push the gunner into our punt returner. Did anybody see Nick Sirianni do that? Did anybody see our defender run into Cooper DeJean? Did Nick Sirianni do that? Was he numbers wearing 33 that day? Was that him? Is that Nick Sirianni out there? We bust him in the head for play calling. Don't call plays. When the plays don't work, it's Nick Sirianni's fault. Everybody needs somebody to blame. And I get it. Last week, I came out here and said the Rams was UCLA. It was Matthew Stafford and UCLA. They were just out there throwing it to whoever was out there, to me, Toddy, and Kaz. We mentioned A.J. Brown. We mentioned Devontae Smith. Toddy knows ball, so he knows his name. Kaz knows his name because he's the Eagles fan. Everyone else who sees this video, when I say 6th-round pick, 6'7", Johnny Wilson is out there. Paris Campbell, Jahan Dotson, John Ross, who was only relevant because he had the fastest 40, but because he no longer has the fastest 40, John Ross is just another motherfucker.
What about the John Ross dance?
We couldn't do anything. 75% of the game, the coverage, the Bucs were in zero coverage. They said, the guy across from me at wide receiver is not better than me. We're going to load the box. Saquon's not going to be able to run, and you're not going to make a play.
Tough.
Over and over and over. Jahan Dotson is looking at the ball.
He did
Makes it come up, boom, blasted, jamming him off the line. I know we also saw the Xavier Worth clip in the training camp for the Chiefs of him just getting blown around, thrown around by his teammates. That's what Jahan Dotson looked like. We saw Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley combine for 32 touches last week and 316 yards. Where was that this week? I understand the game plan wasn't focused around Dallas because we still had Smitty going into that game. But this game, everyone in America knew Smitty wasn't playing. You know, AJ practiced 2 days during the week, warms up, doesn't play. Last thing I'm going to say about him.
Why is this?
We have a lot of things to figure out. I'm not going to sit here and blame Jalen for this. Everyone's willing to say that it's Jalen's fault. Another thing that Jalen nor Nick Sirianni did was miss tackles. I came on here singing our praises, Vic. 3 missed tackles in an NFL football game. 3. God bless you. Build him a statue. What does he do to follow up that performance? I praise him for having 5 guys on the line. First snap, 4 down linemen. Ah, shit. Here we go. 14 missed tackles. There's nothing you can do about that. But everyone wants to sit here and say it's Jalen Hurts' fault. It's Nick Sirianni's fault. There was a play last year in the Seattle game when I was ready to contemplate fandom for the Eagles. Hassan Reddick was in the slot guarding Tyler Lockett. And I said, my goodness, if I ever see anything like that again, I'm done. We have a new coordinator. That shouldn't happen. We pay you to rush the quarterback, not backpedal. So, watching the game, I see a motion.
Why did you go back to last year?
And I see the corner doesn't follow. I said, holy shit. Nolan Smith goes out to coverage. It's Chris Godwin. I said, hey, babe, want to bet us a slant? Want to bet he catches it? Height, 1, 2, 10 yards.
10 yards.
What is Nolan Smith doing out there? And I get it. All I heard that whole game was, wow, it's really hot out there. It's really hot out there. I don't give a fuck. There was one starter on our team to play every snap, and it was Quinyon Mitchell. And he's out there doing his damnness. Avonte Maddox, I don't ever want to see him on the field again. Every year he gets hurt, and we tell ourselves next year is going to be his year. He's healthy, and he's just out there doing his thing.
Toddy, quit laughing, bro. Stop.
Kerry Rogers, after the game, when they asked him what happened, he said, I did it to draw the foul. The penalty. They picked up the flag. I don't know what you want me to say. There's a lot of things going wrong with this team. A lot of things going wrong with this team. And if you were to tell me going into the bye week we're 2-2, you're shitting me. There's no way.
Who do y'all play out of the bye week?
The Cleveland Browns.
Okay, let's skip that game.
So we are going to go into the bye, get healthy, and figure out a lot of things because we are the only team in the NFL to not score in the first quarter. The Panthers scored in the first quarter. That goes to show a lot. All of our weapons.
Score a touchdown or just
a touchdown.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things we got to fix. The turnovers, we have to tidy up. There's no excuse for the turnovers. It's over and over. It's illegal formation. It's holding. It's PIs. Over and over and over, we're getting them to third down, and it's a penalty. It's a penalty. It's a penalty. We have to figure it out. In the second half, we gave up 9 points. We gave up 24 points in the first half. If the offense shows up, we're in that game. That was a horrible game. There's a lot of good things to look at it. Going into the bye week, we had no Lane Johnson. I told you our win percentage was 37% without him. Goes to show why. So a lot of things.
Dylan did get sacked 6 times.
6 times. So there's a lot of things to look at this. Yeah, you can look at Jalen's fumble and say, "Ha, he did it again, God damn it." Well, guess who leads the NFL in picks right now? Patrick Mahomes, and no one says shit. So, anyways,
they are 4-0.
It doesn't matter. Picks are picks. That's what I was told. But
one team is 4-0 and one team is 2-2.
So if he throws 55 picks and they win the Super Bowl, it's okay? No, yes or no? That's what you tell me, yes or no. Are we coming on here singing his praises if he throws 55 picks? But they 3-peat. Are we coming on here saying that he's still the best to ever do it?
I'm just laughing at the fact I'm trying to process somebody throwing 55 picks in a season.
I'm just saying, picks are picks.
Kevin's hurt.
Jameis threw 42,000 yards, had 30 touchdowns, but he threw 30 picks. That's what we remember.
Bro,
you look at
if
the
I
stat.
ever saw that, bro.
All right, let's bring it back in.
Oh god.
All right, Kaz. I'll let you take it off. Philadelphia Eagles go to Tampa Bay and lose 33-16.
Kev was laughing the whole time too.
Bruh. Anyways, before we talk about this, you're going to stop saying we got me and Kaz and Toddy out there catching it off. I was not a bad receiver when I played, bro. You're going to put some respect on my name. I keep hearing you say that. I'm like, okay, what you mean by that? I feel like I'm better. No.
You could have been Jahan Dotson.
Yeah.
He's the best out of the group. Toddy could have been Paris.
But my competitive brain, I always hear it. I'm like, what you mean by that? Like it just clicked out of nowhere. But nah, man. All around, just like I said earlier, from the water boy to the head coach, everybody underperformed tremendously. This is one of those games where you look at the stats don't lie across the board. All 22 guys are out there on offense and defense. It's like, who showed up? Saquon was the player of the game on offense with 2 runs. That's it. That's the only good that we saw from that game. Something about I don't ever want to see Baker Mayfield again. It's just one of those weird situations where he owns us. I was tweeting it like crazy. I was mad. I ain't gonna lie to you. I wasn't mad about the loss, or about losing the game. I was mad about the way that we lose the game. That pissed me off because I'm looking at this shit here and I'm like, guys, have some heart. Step up. You know what I mean? Like, this is already going to be a hard game to play. They just beat us last year in the playoffs. And if you guys go to StatMuse and look up Baker Mayfield against the Philadelphia Eagles, man, he just plays well against the Eagles. I don't know why. He sees, I think I tweeted or I said to someone, Baker Mayfield, when he sees midnight green, he actually sees red. He's not scared of us at all. Also, Todd Bowles as head coach, he has Jalen figured out. He has Nick Sirianni figured out. They just own us. It is what it is. And I was surprised to see that we were favored on the road without Devonta Smith. I believe we were 2.5-point favorites, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that line changed, Todd. You might know, but like, I'm pretty sure we were 2.5-point favorites
in that game.
Yeah, and I'm like, where? Like respectfully, where? If we have AJ, we got Smitty, probably a different story, but we don't. And on top of that, no Lane Johnson. So the thing that stood out to me most about that game was, I know you defend him quite a bit, Kevin, with Nick Sirianni. Even like at the press conference, it's like we can't just keep saying the same things over and over again. It's old news, man. Like, you're not showing us or telling us that you're planning on making changes. Like, you understand that this team, like this team won't be here forever, and we're probably not going to get better in the next 4 to 5 years. It's going to go backwards. When AJ's gone, Smitty's gone, Jalen Hurts probably doesn't get another contract. Saquon's done. Like, I don't foresee our future. I mean, unless I get it. We got Howie, and he's gonna make some moves, but this is probably one of the best talent-wise Eagles teams that we're going to see in a very long time. And I'm talking dating all the way back to like 2003, 2004, when we had all of our secondary was all pros. Who was that? Sheldon Brown, Lito Shepherd, Michael Lewis, and Brian Dawkins. Guys like that. Jeremiah Trotter at the not junior, senior at middle linebacker, and even before that, having guys like Javon Curse, like a Hall of Famer, like on the defensive line. Then Donovan McNabb, having T.O. We made a run for the Super Bowl that year, and we did it in 2022. We're witnessing like the best Eagles roster that we're going to have for a very long time. When I see losses like that, I just turn and look at the rest of the NFL. I go, well, you know what? If we have this guy or this guy's supposed to be, so good at this and that and the other, right? Do you need everything to be perfect for you to play well? If that's the case, I said it a couple weeks ago, I'll say it again. If you need for everything to be perfect to win games, you're probably not a good team. Adversity is what makes good players, but good teams. How you handle adversity says everything. Now, I'm not out on the Eagles because, yes, we were without our amazing receiving core. I mean, let's just call it what it is. That does factor in a lot. But I did tweet, this could be the Jalen Hurts game. And I wasn't confident in that tweet, but I was hoping. I'm like, man, please, man, just give me one touchdown, 190 yards, and one rushing touchdown. That's all. I'm not asking for a Geno Smith night. I'm not asking for that. Give me 190 through the air. Give me, 20 rushing, one rushing touchdown, one passing touchdown. Okay. And maybe win this game, like, who knows, like 19 or 21, a couple field goals to 20 or something like that. That's all I'm asking. But instead, the opposite happened. Baker Mayfield annihilated us. Todd Bowles, they bent us over. I can't make any excuses for anything that happened that game. Watching that game, I'm like, where's the heart? Where's the grit? Where's the someone slamming a helmet or a tablet on the sideline? Something. Give me something. But you're going to just roll over and die. And at one point, we had an opportunity to bring it within, I think, 10 points. And it's like, okay, now's the time. And what do we do immediately? Nothing. One of the worst games I've probably witnessed as an Eagles fan. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we still have a good roster, even with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith out. We have guys on defense who are supposed to be big playmakers. Where were they at? The hell? You see my lights turn off? That was weird. Anyways, so yeah, just a really bad game, and I really hope that we turn it around. I'm not confident in this team right now. I think that we'll win against bad teams. I want to beat good teams. The Buccaneers were a good team, and you saw what happened. We got our ass kicked. So awesome beating the Saints when we beat them. Maybe the Saints, people probably jumped the gun on them a little early, thinking they're a great team, and they're probably just an okay team, probably a solid team. But the Bucs are a legitimate good team. They're a playoff team, and to do that to us on national television is crazy. So we'll see. Again, Kevin, I understand I'm probably a little more critical on the players and coaches than you are, and I don't think that neither of us are wrong. My opinion is my opinion, and yours is yours. At the end of the day, we have a problem in Philadelphia still, and if we're going to make another run like we did in 2022, we need to see that 2022 team show up. There's only a couple guys missing from that team. That's all I'm saying. So,
yeah, box score yesterday. Baker threw for 347, 2 touchdowns, and he also had a rushing touchdown. Fun fact: Baker Mayfield is tied for quarterback rushing touchdowns in the league, alongside with Jaden Daniels. We also have Justin Fields, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. Oh, Jalen Hurts is in there, and Bo Nix. So don't sleep on Baker's legs.
All right.
Baker is a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's knocking on the door being a top end quarterback. When I say top end, bottom tier, top end, he's knocking on the door right now.
I lied.
We'll see at the end of the season.
He's fourth. He has 2 rushing touchdowns, and he's tied with Lamar and Jalen. Justin Fields has 3. Jaden Daniels has 4, so he's leading the league.
All right, so now it is time to get into our Week 4 NFL recap. So, Kaz, I'm going to swing it right back to you. The Buffalo Bills embarrassed the Jacksonville Jaguars 47-10.
Yeah, that was a game where I decided to be cute and take the upset. I was like, you know what? The Jags are going to, do it to him at home, blah, blah. I mean, Trevor looks like shit. Doug Peterson probably won't have a job after, the next 2 weeks, I'm guessing. And just the Jags as a whole. I mean, mainly Trevor. He just looks really, really, really bad. Like Bryce Young levels of bad, but he has a much better team than Bryce Young. So the Bills did what they were supposed to do, I guess, and then some. Absolutely, they just bit them over, man. Who are the Jacksonville Jaguars? We're the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen went off. Their defense went off that game. They had a couple picks that game on Trevor. And what I did notice was just their aggression all 4 quarters. So their aggression all 4 quarters was something that I like as a fan. I want to see the Eagles do that someday. Just put a team away early and then don't let them up off the ground at all. Kind of the same thing that the Bucs did us. The Bills did that, and I mean, even though that they're the much better team than the Jags, it's what you do. You make sure that you don't give them the time of day. So we saw the Jags come back a couple years back against the Chargers in the playoffs after being down like 20 some odd points and win a playoff game. You don't give any team in the NFL the opportunity. So yeah, expected.
All right, Toddy, swinging to you next. The Houston Texans outlast the Jacksonville Jaguars 24-20.
This was a game that shouldn't have been.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. Did you say the Bills and the Jags?
Yeah, no. Toddy texted me that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, that was week 3.
Yeah, no, Toddy texted me. Yeah, no.
My bad. Who the Bills play again? They played this week.
The Ravens.
Okay. Well, I'll just say, you want me to go ahead and talk about that real quick? 2 seconds.
No, I'll swing it back to you so you get your whole.
All right, cool. My bad. I was like, wait. No. I thought that, but I was like, let me finish. Maybe I'm tripping.
No, you're right. He texted. I was like, fuck yeah. Okay. So Toddy, moving on. The Texans beat the Jaguars. They're 24-20.
Trevor Lawrence looked better in this game. I thought that Stroud looked a little bit shaky early on, but I felt like the difference in the game was when I forget the backup running back name is for the Jags. He gets pushed out.
Bigsby.
Yeah, Bigsby gets pushed out like inside the 5, and they end up trying to go for it on 4th down and they don't convert. And so they're down. The Texans are still within, scoring range and being able to. The game would have basically been put out of reach. I feel like that play kind of changed the outcome of the entire game. Nico Collins balled down this game. He's, I think, leading. He's one of the top leaders in receiving yards. Stephon is still able to do what Stephon does. He's on my fantasy team. No Joe Mixon in this game, and they were still able to get the job done. The Jags are still the only winless team in the entire league now. So Dougie P's seat just keeps getting hotter and hotter each week that they don't win. And if the Jags don't turn it around soon, we might see him get fired before the season ends.
So moving on to the next game, we have the Denver Broncos beating the New York Jets. This game was hard to watch.
Yes.
If you would have told me the Jets hold Bo Nix to 60 passing yards and give up 10 points, I'm thinking the Jets score 35, 40 points.
Got it.
For it to be raining like that, Breece Hall can't get going. Garrett Wilson continues to struggle. You finally get a glimmer of hope. You drive down the field for your kicker to shake it. Aaron Rodgers goes to the bench, throws a towel over his head, and you never know what he was saying, but I know he is probably contemplating this move because it's not looking too hot. The Jets have to figure it out. The Jets are a team that we talk highly about, a team that a lot of people have coming out of the AFC, but when you're losing to teams like the Denver Broncos, and Aaron Rodgers said it perfectly after the game, your team gives up 10 points, you have to win the game. It's all on the offense, 100%, 12 times out of 12. So there's a lot of things that they have to figure out there, but hopefully they figure it out. Kaz, I'm swinging it to you next. We had Jordan Love return to end up eventually losing to the Vikings 31-29.
Yeah, I did call that game. I picked the Vikings to win. I was actually surprised to see the Packers come back the way that they did. I think Vegas had a little bit to play with that personally, but the Vikings are better than the Packers right now. And I also thought that when they had cleared Jordan Love to play, I'm like, is this the game you really want to clear him to play? Are you sure he's 100%? Do you want to risk this just because it's a division game? And at the end of the day, we'll never know. He seemed fine throughout the game, but the Vikings they're really good right now. Sam Darnold, another week of playing good football. Jordan Addison, I think actually not in. I tweeted 4 days ago. I said, you guys who understand that Sam Darnold's doing this without Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, when they come back, that offense is going to they're going to be good. They should be good. How do you mess this up? They get one of those two guys back, and immediately Jordan Addison, 22 points on my fantasy. I did start him, by the way. Power move by me. But Jordan Addison finds the end zone. Awesome. I think he 2 touchdowns, right? 2? So, yeah, 2 touchdowns. He ran one in. I think he caught one. The Vikings they're on a tear right now. And I saw some Vikings fans say some tweets, and I got a couple of friends of mine because I'm from the Midwest, so obviously there's Vikings fans everywhere here. And we usually do this thing where we start off hot some years, and it's watch this end up going 8-9. I'm like, bro, I don't really think that's the vibe right now in Minnesota. You guys have already beat some good football teams. I think that you guys are our team. I think you guys are equivalent to the Detroit Lions, where if you're going to beat us, and by us I mean the Vikings, you're going to have to really show up and give us your best game. So that game shouldn't have been close. You take away the fact they kind of, again, Vegas sprinkled in a little bit of magic and allowed the Packers to close that game, because let's just call it what it was. That game was a blowout. So it's, in my eyes, the Vikings absolutely decimated the Green Bay Packers, and I'm not surprised, honestly. I think the Packers will be okay. I still pick the Packers to win the division. I'm going to stick with that. We'll see if they can turn it around, and I think that they do. But for right now, the Vikings are looking like they might end up going, because they're undefeated, right?
Yes, sir.
They're still undefeated, yeah. Without even looking at their schedule, I can foresee the Vikings being, 8-2, 7-3, something like that after 10 weeks. So muted. You're muted.
Their next 4 games are the Jets, the Lions, the Rams, and the Colts.
Yes, I can see them go
London next week.
Yeah, and I think that they come out of that
6:30 a.m. kickoff is nuts.
Yeah, I think they come out of that stretch. Worst case scenario, 2-2. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario, they sweep. So they get a 4-0. And if you put that in perspective, that's an 8-0 record. So as Eagles fans, we've been there. We started off the season, what was it, 9-1? Last year? No, yeah, last year, 9-1. And we won't talk about the rest of that, but 10-1. Sorry, 10-1. We won't talk about the rest of that, but Minnesota, if they start off hot, I don't foresee them fumbling that bag. So Minnesota's a good team. Watch out.
All right, Ty, going to you next. The Atlanta Falcons outlasted New Orleans Saints 26-24.
Young Wei Koo, the savior. A lot of people are calling him an Atlanta legend. I thought this game was – these two teams hate each other. I get we're kind of far away from the rivalry, but they, hate each other. But this will probably be a series when they play again. The Saints will probably win, but this was a really close game. The Saints ended up taking the lead with an Alvin Kamara. It was a 3 to 5 yard touchdown or something. And the Falcons had to drive down and score. They got rewarded with a crazy pass interference call late, which kind of put them in position to kick a game-winning field goal. But this was just a back-and-forth game. There was a lot of errors for the Saints on special teams, and they also had a pick six, so I feel like that kind of put them in harm's way. But I thought the Falcons ended up being the better team. Poor Kevin, Bijan Robinson didn't help him out with his parlay over the weekend. But the Falcons and the Bucks, I feel like the Falcons, the Bucks, and the Saints, it'll be a lot closer between those three teams for that division than it kind of was last year.
I agree. So next game, we have the Indianapolis Colts versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we get into this game, Kaz gave him a pat on the back for his fantasy knowledge, starting whoever he started. I forgot who it was. But Toddy was telling me, AR this week, Kevin? And I said, hell no. I got something, Toddy. I got something on the waiver. It's coming. Who do I get? Sam Darnold. The night before, I said, damn, am I really going to bench AR? Looked at myself in the mirror and said, duh. It's them. 4 plays into it, gets hurt, so I'm happy I did that. But throughout 3 weeks, all we said was Justin Fields was a game manager. That boy came out there, 312 yards, 22 of 34, slaying that thing. And they lost, unfortunately, but we're able to see Justin Fields be able to play a lot of different ways. This football team has a lot of holes offensively. Besides George Pickens and Pat Fairmouth, they really don't have anything else going. Najee Harris has been –
he's pretty good. I like him. The other little slot receiver. He's pretty good.
Najee's been hit or miss this year. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not. For Cordell Patterson to wipe his cleats off and come out there and go for 6 rushes for 43 yards says a lot about this team. But the Indianapolis Colts, life was rejuvenated, unfortunately, as soon as Anthony Richardson goes down. What happens? An intermediate pass for a touchdown. Michael Pittman ain't done shit all season. 113 yards. Josh Downs, 6 for 82. They got a lot of weapons. Unfortunately, on my fantasy team, if you're a Colts skill player, you're on the waiver, buddy, because they're going to put him back in there at some point, and I'm sick and tired of it. I cannot do it to my mental anymore. I had to get Sammy Boy in there, and he did his thing. Didn't do enough for me, like Toddy mentioned, but I'm really hoping to see AR come back out there soon. I would hate for him to be a what-if story with all his injuries so early in his career. So, Kaz, moving on, we have
before you – I don't mean to cut you off, Kaz. We always mention the group chat on the show. I got some Steelers fans poking their chest out now because they was 3-0. Gary and Cordell, I'm calling you both out. I was in the group chat going at them because they're Fields is the guy. If we wouldn't have fumbled on the left, I was like, he played a good game. I'll give him his credit where credit is due, but there were a couple of plays, questionable plays in that game where it's like, all right, we kind of need you to show up because there once upon a time, I think it was 17-0. The Steelers weren't really able to get anything going. And then towards the end, they kind of started to pick it up. Defense started to play a little bit better. But Steeler fans, because they were 3-0, they were starting to come at my team, who was now 2-2. We're like, hey, we're 3-0. Well, I'm like, let's keep it real. Y'all know what it is. All right. Let's not get misconstrued. We got Fields this year. I'm like, okay, let's see. Come on. I think Justin Fields needs to be playing with the lead for them to be successful. They were down yesterday. Things got a little bit wonky. I get it at the end. Had a chance to win. Didn't pull through. I feel like the defense needs to. The team runs through the defense, and Fields just kind of has to not fuck it up for them to win. So, I'll just say
game manager like your guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's a problem when it's Justin Fields. Hey, man, another story for another day. But Todd,
leading pass yards, but that's okay.
Hey, man, swing it to you. Your man, Caleb Williams, first rookie in 25 years to go 2-0 in their home debuts. Beat the Rams 18-24. Last week I dragged you through the mud. Let's hear it this week.
Did you see the Caleb double fist pump? They was going at him for celebrating for double fist pump. They said, "Look at this yippee-ki-yay ass celebration." Caleb is better. He looked better last week. He looked better this week. Got Keenan Allen back. I did see Jay Glazer reported that they had like a meeting with Shane Waldron. Like, hey, we gotta start letting it loose. We need to figure this shit out because there ain't no way this should not be working the way it is. Caleb is missing throws that are like DJ Moore's beat his man by 3-4 yards, and he has a wide open ass touchdown. He just misses. These are plays that I'm like, okay, you need to be able to hit these throws. And then there are other plays where he's spinning around, running across the sideline, hitting Cole Kmet or Rome Odunze on a crazy ass sidearm throw. Was like, okay, why can't you just hit the fucking 9 route that he's wide ass open on? And then he had a fucking crazy ass double move back at the end zone catch to DJ Moore, where it's like, okay, can we get more of that? So his confidence, I feel like, is starting to get a little bit better. He's still getting beat up. The offensive line is still garbage. They got the Panthers next week, so I feel like we'll start to build up and get better for them. I did pick the Panthers to win this division. Caleb has to start. He's playing better, but he has to. We need to make these easy ass throws that he's missing because he's missing. Like they're running wild. They are wide open, and you're like, bro, like, why aren't you able to hit that? Like, what's going on here? So, I love Caleb. You know, he's got another win under his belt. He's got to play better. He will tell you that he's got to play better. DeAndre Swift, they got the running game going. That was a huge help for them. But now we got to start because Keenan Allen's – we got Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet. We got DeAndre Swift. Ain't no way this shit ain't supposed to be working. So it's like you're here for a reason. There's a lot of pressure around you. You know that. You told the damn punter you ain't going to be punting that much.
And he on the field more than you.
That's what. So I'm like, we need to figure out what the hell is going on. So this is a good step for the Bears. They need to play better. Caleb needs to play better. Let's get the ball rolling. They got the Panthers next week. That should be a win for them.
Moving on to you, Kaz. The Kansas City Chiefs outlasted Los Angeles Chargers 17-10.
Oh, my God. Well, first off, Rashee Rice getting taken out by Patrick Mahomes.
That was great.
That sucks. I'm not sure what the actual diagnosis was, but if I'm not mistaken, probably torn ACL, out for season, I'm guessing. Unfortunate. I think the Chiefs will make another power move and get some stud wide receiver out of nowhere because that's just what they do. But if I'm not mistaken, did Kareem Hunt have a solid game?
80 yards.
Kareem Hunt came back to
Kevin
Kansas City where he had to leave because of an incident years ago when he was in his prime. Prime Kareem Hunt was a problem. I'm not sure if y'all know about that, you know what I'm saying? But prime Kareem Hunt was one of them ones for real. Oh, yeah. And to come back to KC and do what he did was awesome. You know, kind of the opposite of what I think about the Eagles right now. Good teams just find a way to win. Mahomes did not look good. Mahomes not look good at all. He's throwing picks.
He threw a bad pick.
A bad pick. You can't get anything going on offense. And then even defensively, it's like, it's just such a sloppy game. Now, granted, it was a division game. So for my picks, I actually picked Kevin, me and you talked about it. I said, I have a crazy upset that I'm picking. And you're like, you're nuts. I'm like, I'm not picking it because of logical reasons. I'm picking the Chargers to win because it's just, why can't it happen to the Chiefs? It's already happened to how many teams now that have no business losing? The Ravens losing to the Raiders, and you got us losing to whoever the hell we've lost. I don't even know anymore. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it was one of those games where I knew it was going to be weird. That would have been the game if I was a fan and I was going to give advice to somebody. Don't bet on it. Don't even watch it. And it was exactly how I thought. Now, I'm an idiot. I put a good chunk of money on a Travis Kelce anytime touchdown. I'm hurting. Let's just say that. I'm hurting. That shit hurted. But Kansas City, a great team, great coach, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, found the way to get a win, and they're just you got to put KC away, man. You're not going to win any game within 7 points as long as Patrick Mahomes is out there. So the Chargers had opportunities. The refs obviously helped out a lot per usual, and Kansas City got the dub. So not surprised. Obviously, they were supposed to win, but I think they're like 6.5 points, 7-point favors, I believe. But they played a hard fought game against a division opponent and just came away with the win down the stretch. So that's it.
So next game we will be covering is the Cleveland Browns losing to the Las Vegas Raiders. Toddy and I love to cherish our memories, and one of our fond memories on this podcast is a factor cap worst trade in history that the Browns will regret it. And this was last season. He was hurt, and they came on there and said, "You don't know ball, da-da-da, Deshaun Watson this, Deshaun Watson that."
That was a year ago.
They saw Joe Flacco on Sunday, and I said, "I bet you their GM said, damn, maybe we should have kept Joe."
Yeah.
Maybe. Deshaun Watson, it's just not working out, man. This team has no identity. With Nick Chubb coming back to practice this week, hopefully is to give them a boost. But Jerome Ford isn't Nick Chubb. And for this team to rely on the running game so much and not get the productivity says a lot. But for you to lose to an offense that doesn't have Devontae Adams and Michael Mayer is embarrassing.
Max Crosby.
But he don't play the offense.
Yeah.
We talked about this Cleveland Browns defense being one of the best in the league last year. They didn't lose nobody. They paid a couple people. What happened? The fall off is insane. The Browns have a lot of things to figure out. Amari Cooper could be on the trade block, so there's a lot of things that they have to figure out in Cleveland. But we knew this coming in, so I was really hoping for a Deshaun reunion tour, comeback tour, excuse me. But it's looking like I am not going to see that this year. So moving on, Toddy, go ahead and give us your breakdown for the 49ers beating the Patriots 30-13.
Hey, man, we back. What can I say, man? We back. This was just a game. This is a get-right game. We're favored by 10. I was very skeptical on picking this game for us to cover, but they proved me wrong. Defense showed out. They balled. I think Fred Warner is the league leader right now for Defensive Player of the Year. He had the pick 6 last week, on Sunday. And he's flying all over the place. He makes plays. He forced fumbles. He pretty much does anything you need him to do. He could line up at receiver damn near. We needed him to do it. Brock Purdy leads the league in passing yards. I don't know if you guys knew that. He went for 288 and a touchdown. He really only had one bad throw, and I thought that was the interception, trying to force feed IU. But other than that, I thought he played a great game. He's been a guy that has been using his legs a lot to extend plays, which has been pretty insane. We did have Debo back, and we also had George Kittle back, who ended up catching the touchdown. Jawan Jennings is just a man amongst boys. Kevin calls him third and Jawan, as a lot of people have called him in the past. But Kevin liked to refer to him as, put him in that corner of a number 3 receiver. Just going to put you over there. What happens when Jawan Jennings got to do this? When he got to do that? Oh, he's just going to go off for 175 and 3 touchdowns. Oh, he's
going to win?
Oh, he's going to go off and just he'll lead the team for 88 yards.
Stats are for losers.
I'll let you talk, so I'm gonna talk about my team. Niners are back. We're 2-2. Jordan Mason is just, I don't know, man. This dude runs hard, man. Like, it's hard to tackle him. And I would like to see him get a little bit more going in the passing game, but him between the tackles and on the outside, it's just like you don't want to tackle him in open space. Niners are rolling. That's scary for the league. Have the Cardinals next week, favored by 7.5 at home. Cards coming off a loss. It gets weird with Kyler Murray, but I feel like the Niners should roll in that game as well. But, hey, man, I'm just putting the league on notice. Ricky Pearsall coming back. Y'all ain't even seen him play yet. White boy Rick. Y'all gonna start seeing him dancing and grooving all in the end zone, dancing. Y'all go. I'm just saying. Because it's like, who's going to guard him? Your linebacker's going to guard him? Your third corner is going to guard him? Okay, good luck. It's going to get scary. I'm just letting y'all know right now. When Ricky Pearsall comes back, he's able to practice, he's able to play. Oh, yeah. It's going to get scary. I'm just letting y'all know right now.
So you're thinking Brian Thomas Jr. is scary. We're thinking Luke McCaffrey scary.
Okay. Just watch. Just wait.
Which one we leaning? We leaning more Brian Thomas, or we leaning more Luke?
I mean, we can throw it to whoever. Who you want?
No. What are we thinking that Ricky's going to be? Is he going to be more of a Brian or more of a Luke McCaffrey?
You don't even think Brian's good, so that's why I'm just like, what do you even mean by
I was going to say Malik Neighbors. We don't think he's that, do we?
We'll see.
Oh shit. Okay, moving on. Kaz, go ahead and finish it up here. The Miami Dolphins lose to the Tennessee Titans, 31-12.
God, man. I predict this too, man. I just said it's gonna be a sloppy game, bro. I got the game wrong. I picked the Dolphins to win. I just thought, man. I mean, Will Levis goes out early in the game. They got Mason Rudolph. I don't even know dude's name. Oh boy, they got half a head from Myles Garrett slamming his helmet on him. Mason Rudolph, he in the game, looking like Mason Rudolph. Just a ugly game through and through. Doesn't matter. Tennessee does a little bit more on offense in comparison to the Miami Dolphins, and that's all it took to win this game. And at the same time, Tyreek Hill was completely eliminated, which obviously that's probably was the game plan for the Titans. It's just, hey, let's just kind of, play toward anywhere that Tyreek Hill is on defense and allow them to truly beat us with the arm. Allow Tyler Huntley to thread the needle through the air, which he's not capable of doing. So just an ugly game. The second that 7:30 game for me came on, which was the Seahawks and the Lions game, I turned that game off. I had it on my phone, but not on my television. It was just there just for viewing purposes, just in case, a big play happened, nothing happened. The coolest play of that game was Tajay Spears taking a direct snap and running it in 10 yards out or something like that. So just a boring game. The Dolphins are in trouble. Tyreek's not happy. Nobody's happy in Miami right now. And I've said it in the past. They need Tua to come back, man. For guys saying that Tua is not a franchise quarterback, well, you see what happens when you don't got him in the game. It's equivalent to us when we don't have most of our weapons. It's like, damn, this shit ain't fun, man. So I know Tyreek's frustrated. He was open on quite a few plays, and Tyreek with Tua goes off for probably 175 tonight. Huntley missed him on 3 or 4 big plays, and it just this game tonight just comes to show how valuable Tua really is to that Miami Dolphins team. So just need to get Tua back, and until that happens, depending on who they play, you probably can't pick the Dolphins to win a game moving forward. So that was probably
too, right?
What's that?
So y'all know Odell's on this team? He's
Bro,
on.
does he even play football anymore?
He's on the team.
Who
He's
is?
on IR or the pup list or something. Odell.
Odell
Who?
Beckham.
Oh my God. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
So,
But yeah, so you have all the weapons in the world, no quarterback. On the opposite end, like I said, for us, you have a solid quarterback, good quarterback, and Jalen Hurts, and no weapons on. It's just sucks, and you see what happens. So Tennessee, they they got to win against a team that is only as good as their offense is, and that's with everybody healthy. So no Tua, that completely eliminates Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and even Devin A-Chain. He had issues getting it rolling too. So Titans won, and I think they honestly deserve that win. So shout out to the Titans. I mean, they both still suck, but shout out to the Titans.
So we actually have one more game, Toddy, that I missed. So I'm going to swing it to you next to end us off here for our Week 4 recap. The Dallas Cowboys escape the New York Giants, 20-15.
Neighbors is a boy. Kevin laughed at me when I said he's better than Marvin Harrison Jr. I still believe that is true. Even people were saying, well, he has Daniel Jones. And some people were saying that Malik Neighbors might save Daniel Jones' job, which is even crazier to say. I still think Daniel Jones isn't the guy. He did get hurt trying to make an insane catch at the end of the game. Ended up leaving the game with a concussion. CeeDee Lamb, I thought, played well in this game. I think it's concerning for the Cowboys. Their running back room concerns me. Rico Dowell and Ezekiel Elliott. That was kind of me going into the season like, okay, y'all going to rely on them? It really is. Who else besides CeeDee Lamb is going to be able to do something for them? And I feel like the way how close the game was at the end of the how it kind of came down to it kind of shows you their lack of weapons. And Jerry Jones said, we're going all in. We're going all in this year. And Micah's hurt now, and he's going to be expecting a bunch of money. How good has Micah been? He hasn't really done anything in recent memory. He's a great player, I think, but he's got to show it on the field. He's on podcasts, interviewing people, doing this and that and the third, and hasn't really been performing well. But I do think this Dallas Cowboy team, a lot of people expect them to win a bunch of games, but it's like, how good are they when they're kind of going down to the wire? Who team they beat 40-0 last year when they went to MetLife last year. And now it's like these games are a lot closer than they need to be. So I feel like the Cowboys, yes, they got the win, but it's like we're getting slapped at home against the Saints, the Packers when they beat us in the playoffs, the Niners whenever we play them. We got to be good teams. We can't just be beating up on bad teams all the time. And when we play a good team, we get slapped. So there you have it there.
So we're moving on to our last two segments of the show. We have a this or that and a fact or cat. Thank you guys for listening this far in. We are at episode 115 of Stats Over Politics. So, Kaz, we introduced you to this or that last week, so we're just going to throw us into it this week. So, we mentioned this guy's name a lot this episode. So, this is going to be interesting to see where you guys stand. So, this or that, Nico Collins.
Wow.
First name, Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors.
Give me Nico Collins.
Okay.
Oh, ooh,
We did a Malik Neighbors factor cap early.
damn, bro, this is tough, man. Actually, this is a good one. I'm gonna go with Malik Neighbors, man. That dude is, yeah. And you guys know I'm not big on college, man, but I've seen enough that last game. I've seen a couple games now. I've seen enough. That dude is not. Nico got a lot of help around him, bro. Malik don't. All you gotta do is shut down Malik, and then you shut down the Giants.
Yeah.
It's easy, right? Yeah, Malik, give me Malik, bro. That boy is crazy. He's crazy.
Next name, Toddy's boy, Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk.
It's Black Jesus. You guys know what I'm talking about? You ever see the old posters that grandma's have in the house of Jesus, but he's black with the dreads?
Oh,
That's like you. Nah, I would say give me Nico Collins.
yeah. I get
Give
it.
me
BA
Nico.
did really well this year, but just to what have you done for me lately kind of guy. Nico's jumped on the scene. He hasn't had a good quarterback. Now that he has CJ Stroud, he's elevated in the top 10 talks. Okay. Next name, Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams.
I'm taking
Devontae Adams. Yeah.
Next name.
The guy's open on every play. He just has nobody throw him the ball.
Next name, Amon-Ra, St. Brown.
I like him all.
I'll take Amon-Ra, St. Brown.
It's so
I'm probably going Amon-Ra as well.
Yeah. It's not that Nico's not good or Amon-Ra is like way better than him. I think Amon-Ra is he's everything. It's slot, outside.
Do a touchdown pass today.
I mean, do a touchdown pass. I mean,
He does it all. Next name, Cooper Kupp.
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins as well. Next name, his teammate. Toddy says wide receiver 1, Stephon Diggs.
Step.
I'll take Nico Collins.
Yeah, I'm taking Nico
I'm
Collins.
taking Step.
Next name, DJ Moore.
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins.
I'm going to go Nico as well.
A year ago, I would have said DJ Moore.
2 more names. Amari Cooper.
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins.
He's younger.
Last name, Mike Evans.
Mike Evans.
Yeah. I'm going Mike. Give me Mike.
I mean, we didn't show respect to Devontae, so I'm damn sure not showing respect to Mike. Give me Nico.
Wow.
Okay. So
me-
we're going to end the show off on a factor cap. I have been hearing this debate all season long, and we have a Niner fan with us, so there's no better person to start this off than Toddy. So factor cap. Fred Warner is the best defensive player in the NFL.
Fact. I don't know why.
Just that quick?
Yeah. Have y'all seen him? He's forcing fumbles. He's catching interceptions. He's getting pick sixes. The film? Watch the tape. Just watch the tape. TJ is the other guy who I would be like, okay, maybe TJ because he's a monster. But last week he didn't really do anything. But in like prior weeks before that, he's been all over the place. But yes, Fred Warner is the best player in the NFL. So this is a fact. Watch the tape.
The best defensive player.
Anybody on defense, corner, safety, defensive tackle.
Okay. I was just asking, brother.
Outside linebacker, anybody. Fred Warner is the best defensive player in the NFL. This is a fact.
All right, Kaz, I'm going to swing to you next. Factor cap. Fred Warner is the best defensive player in the NFL.
I wasn't prepared for this question, so therefore I did not do enough research to think about this. But
just watch the tape.
there's nobody right now that's standing out to me defensively outside of an Aiden Hutchinson, who, getting like 5 sacks in a single game. Or the Packers collectively, they've forced, I think, like 11 turnovers on the season. If not more than that, I'm not sure how many turnovers they had. Regardless, when it comes to individual performance, fuck, man, I might have to say it's a fact. Just because of ignorance right now. Again, I haven't really thought about that 4 weeks in. Who is
Fred
truly
can
the
guard
best?
your slot receiver. He can guard your slot receiver. He can stop the run. He can force fumbles. He can get.
He's not. Yeah.
He does everything.
I think after this week, that kind of solidified it for now. Because that fucking pick six was dope. I was like, damn, that dude is
He's been doing that too. So
I know, but we don't want to have recency bias to go, well, now he's not, even though last year, the best defensive player in the league was
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett. You know what I'm saying? Is Myles Garrett just not a guy anymore, or is he just having a bad 4 weeks? You know what I mean? So I'll just say right now, I'm cool with that. I'll say it's facts.
Factor cap. Fred Warner is the best defensive player in the NFL. And unfortunately, fellas, I'm going to have to be that guy. I have to put the cap on and say this is cap. I get it. Forced fumble here. Pick six here. He's doing it all. Pound for pound, is he the best player? It's hard to say that because Toddy said he can guard a receiver. He can guard a running back. But when you think DPOY, what's the first stat we all think of? Sacks. He's not getting the numbers. People want to see people sack the quarterback. So it's a hard race for him to run in. He's running with his leg tied. He's running with one leg because he's never going to have the sack numbers. He'll have the picks. He'll have the tackles for loss. He'll have the fumbles. He'll have everything. He will not have the sacks. But one of my good friends made a good point to me. A lot of defenses sub out their linebackers for coverage plays. Fred Warner stays out there. You can't put a lot of linebackers in corner. You can't put a lot of linebackers in coverage. I mentioned earlier with Nolan Smith going out there trying to guard somebody and look crazy. Fred Warner goes out there and looks like he's a corner. So, yeah, he does all that stuff, but he'll never have the sack numbers. And for me, I think he's top 3. It's really hard to put a number on these, but it's definitely Fred, TJ, and Miles for me. I'll probably lean more TJ or Miles just because they have the wars. They have the DPOY. But like I said, there's not really that many better linebackers than Fred Warner. He's the best linebacker in the game. When you bring up all time, he's up there with the best of them. So there's a lot of things that he does, but because he never will have the numbers to show it, people will look at this and say no. But Fred Warner is a hell of a player. If this said the best linebacker in the NFL, hands down. But best defensive player in the NFL, there's a shit ton of guys that are really, really good in this NFL, but Fred Warner is definitely up there. So that will conclude episode 115. Before we close out, fellas, you guys got anything to say to the listeners? Because we will not see them until next Monday.
I do want to kind of just touch on the cat trade because it is in our.
Oh shit!
It is in our.
It is in our thing.
It is in our thing. But kind of to just touch on that.
So let me lob you up. So the Minnesota Timberwolves traded Karl Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks for Dante DiVincenzo, Julius Randle, and a Detroit Pistons first-round pick. Toddy, what were your thoughts on the trade?
I felt like the first-round pick, they kind of like threw that in there to kind of sweeten the deal, which was pretty crazy. Cat. You know, he's a guy that can go for 70. We've seen it multiple times. It's pretty crazy to see that the lineup of Brunson, Bridges, OG, Karl Anthony Towns, like that lineup can make some things happen. Now, he did disappear a couple of times in the playoffs last year. You'd like to see a little bit more from him, given what his contract is, because he's going to be making about $60 million in the latter years of his contract. But the Knicks are kind of able to absorb that with the Brunson deal that he made over the summer. As far as the Timberwolves side goes, I think this is kind of, we believe in Naz Reid and what he's able to do. Rudy Gobert, the dynamic of what he's able to bring defensively. Julius Randle is an all-star, so he's a guy that could definitely get buckets for you. How much better is he than Karl Anthony Towns? Are they around the same? I'm not sure. You could argue that they're close, but I think Julius Randle will be able to fit right into this Timberwolves offense, and it's kind of the Ant show anyway, so pretty much everything revolves around him. Is DiVincenzo, where does he fall as far as minutes go? Because Kev is a big Dillingham guy. So how does DiVincenzo affect the Dillingham minutes?
We're all going to play the one.
Dillingham plays the one?
Oh, yeah, he's playing the one for sure. He did a backup Conley.
Okay, so DiVincenzo could start the 2, maybe. I'm not sure how that man could play. Ant played 2.
Yeah, Ant plays the 2. Yeah, it's Mike, Ant, Jaden.
They might just do
Julius
and Dillingham off the bench.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Guys out there. So, I thought the trade was pretty even for the most part. I thought the Knicks definitely got better than the Timberwolves, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean the Knicks are kind of just loading up to they gotta beat the champs. Everybody's loading up to beat the champs. I mean the Sixers went out and got PG. Knicks just traded for Cat. It's an arms
They
race.
traded for Miles. They traded everybody.
It's an arms race. I mean, the Bucks still have Dame and Giannis, who were pretty much unhealthy the entire playoffs last year, so they're going to be back. Yeah, the East just got better for sure. Celtics kicking their feet up, defending champs. I think they still go back, but I think it's going to be – well, New York kind of just fell apart at the end of the year last year. And so injuries played up. Like Jalen Brunson broke his hand. It was over after that. They didn't have a chance. But this Knicks team, can they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals? I mean, I feel like anything short of that now is kind of like, all right, the team is kind of made for us to get to the ECF. But yeah, I thought the trade was pretty crazy, given the names that are in it.
So in a lot of trades, you wonder who won and who lost. It is very apparent who won and who lost. The New York Knicks won and the Timberwolves lost. When Anthony Edwards would struggle, who would pick up the slack? Karl Anthony Towns. You're telling me we're going to bet on Julius Randle, who isn't a playoff riser, to help load this team up? They had their best year in 20 years and decide to blow up the team to save money. I get it. It's a business. There's hard decisions you have to make. Are we going to keep Cat or keep guys like Naz Reid and Nickeil Alexander-Walker? They chose to go to Naz Reid and Nickeil Alexander route. I heard there wasn't really a lot of buzz for Rudy. They would have been willing to trade Rudy, but no one wants Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
So the only person you can trade on that contract is Cat. You get Julius Randle, who's on a 1-year deal. You can trade him, or you can just let him walk. Same with Dante DiVincenzo, so that you guys are getting cheaper, but are you getting better? So there's a lot of things to look at. The Knicks are loaded up with star power now, but what everyone's failing to realize is they have 2 stars and a bunch of role players, essentially. No one thinks OG's anything crazy. We thought Mikal was going to be something, but
he got paid like something crazy.
Glorified role player. So Jalen Brunson and Cat are going to have to lead this team. Mitchell Robinson's been hurt. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein into free agency to Oklahoma City Thunder. They had to make a big move and to do the center. You know, Cat is like an Anthony Davis. They don't really like playing the 5. They want to play the 4. So is Cat got to go down there and bang? He only averaged 7 rebounds a game last year. So for that to be an NBA center is subpar. But before we close out, Cass, do you have any thoughts on the trade? I know you're not a big hoops guy.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually going to ask you the question, which you already answered it. Just who you felt won the trade and lost the trade. From looking from the outside in, as someone who just for the people who don't know, I used to be a really big NBA fan. I haven't over probably last like 10, 15-ish years. Don't ask why, but it just kind of fell off. But I do know for a fact that, you know, most good teams that have superstars, whether they're a forward or a guard, aka Anthony Edwards, you have to have a big man to complement. So losing Cat, I already know just from a basketball perspective, like that's a massive loss when it comes to the Timberwolves. As for the Knicks, I mean, like you said it, Bress. I mean, the games that I've caught from the Knicks and witnessing Jalen Brunson, I bet a little bit here and there. You know what I mean? Dude goes off. He's a stud. And they kind of did what I feel like I just said most teams look to do. You pair up a guy who can give you buckets with a guy who can kill it in the paint. You know what I'm saying? Defensively and offensively. Like you said, Todd, you know, I thought you were kind of being a little too much there, saying, you know, we got a guy who can put up 70. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, we saw those games. I know what games you're talking about. Was it like 2 games in the same season? Was it the same season, right? Or was it just?
I think so, yeah.
I think it was the same season. Yeah, he like went off like 60 and then like 70 or whatever, something like that. Something crazy. It was like a crazy week for basketball. It was like that, and like somebody else did it. Like went off. It was like Luka. It was like back-to-back games almost. I remember that.
Luka Book did it. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Wasn't Joel a part of that mix too?
He might have.
It was like all in the same week. It was just like, okay, what the like what's going on?
Who scored the most points?
Yeah,
but Cat definitely took it. If not mistaken.
Yeah, everybody was.
But yeah, so I mean, just from a very version NBA mind, I would say nowadays, it just seems like the Knicks, they made a power move. You see, all the teams in Eastern Conference or in the East that you have to get past, got like not saying much, but like the Sixers, obviously defending champions, Boston Celtics. You got to make these moves, bro. I mean, it's just that simple. You don't make these moves, you don't make a run in the playoffs. And the NBA is also a type of league where you see everybody doing it nowadays. I mean, this goes all the way back to when LeBron first jumped ship in Cleveland and he went to Miami. All of a sudden, what did you notice that started changing the league? Players, all right, man, screw this, man. I'm going to the super team. So the NBA is, I mean, the face of the NBA is super teams. It's just the way that it is now. If Cat wants if he wants an opportunity at a championship, go to a team that's going to give you the best opportunity. And maybe that's not in Minnesota, which is fine. You guys said it yourself as guys who watch the NBA way more than I do. Sounds like he made, well, not he made, but the Knicks made a really good decision in snagging a big guy who can give you buckets, again, on both sides of the court. So just all in all, just seems like it's going to be fun to watch the East Side yet again and see what happens over there. So
perfect. So that will close out for episode 115 of Stats Over Politics. Please continue to show love on all social medias. We are wherever you have a social media account. We're on X, we're on TikTok, we're on X, we're on Instagram. We are everywhere to be found. Please continue to show love and support. We will see you guys next Monday following the Monday Night Football game. We are signing off for episode 115 of Stats Over Politics.